Are your quail like plenty old enough? 18, 20 weeks old, 10 weeks old, whatever, they haven't started laying eggs yet? You're wondering exactly why? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Hey guys, welcome back to another slightly redneck video. Again, my name is Chris, and if you're not familiar with this channel, I help you to produce your own meat, eggs, and vegetables from your backyard, your balcony, your deck, your garage, or even a spare room in your house, if that's the way you want to do it. Now, this is actually a topic I've addressed in video many times, but it's really common question from new quail raisers, people that are new to raising quail. I guess I just said that twice for no reason. But it comes up all the time in live broadcasts. Almost every week somebody's asking, why are my birds not laying eggs yet? And especially, let me put these eggs down. You can see I got a couple of them out of them today so far. They'll lay a couple more. I'll get probably 3 or 4 more overnight. But anyway, that's not the point. Get back to where I was talking about. Right now, there's a big controversy about tractor supply feed. I don't even know all the details about it, but apparently some kind of tractor supply feed issue where people believe that that's causing their birds to stop laying eggs or not lay eggs. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm not here to really talk about that. I don't use tractor supply feed. My birds have been laying eggs. They never stopped laying eggs. I've had them laying all winter long. And if you've got birds that have just hit age, like 12 weeks old, 8 weeks old, 10 weeks old, whatever, and they haven't started laying yet, chances are the issue is the lack of light. Although it feels like spring out here right now, and we're getting really close to spring, our days are still rather short. I mean, right now it is 5:15 and the sun is going down. It's going to be down in another 45 minutes, 5:15 p.m. And it didn't come up until it was close to 6:30, almost 7 o'clock before the sun actually came up. So that's less than 10 hours a day of daylight, or right at 10 hours a day, somewhere right around in there. Your birds need at least 14 hours a day of light on a consistent basis in order to be laying eggs. So in order for you to keep them laying throughout the winter, or to get them started laying when they hit that 8 to 10 week old mark when they should start laying, sometimes a little earlier, but most of the time 8 to 10 weeks old, you're going to have to put some kind of external light on them. Unless you've got them inside in a barn or a shed or something like that with controlled light all the time, you're going to have some kind of light on the hutch, because if you're relying just on daylight, you're not going to get eggs around here the winter time from probably about late September all the way through till about March. There's a big span there where the days are just too short for these birds to be laying eggs. The amount of light is the #1 factor why they don't lay. Now, the light I'm using right now is a solar light from Amazon. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it doesn't have to be a super bright light. This one comes on automatically when the sun goes down. Let me see if I can cover this solar panel. I don't know if, hang on, let me see, I can't remember. Yep, there. I don't know if you can see that come on video or not, but it's not really that bright. It will light this up enough that I could read a book by it if I needed to. That's all you need. I've got it over this section of my hutch right here. This is a pretty thick plastic covering, but it is a kind of a see-through, so light will get through that. And that's enough to keep these birds laying all winter long. Sometimes I'll get a little bit of a slowdown in late December when the days are the shortest of the year, or if we have like an extended period of really cloudy days, the solar light doesn't charge up, they'll shut down and they'll quit laying for a couple of days until the light gets back on, and then it takes them a day or two after that to start laying again. But that is the #1 reason why your birds may not have started laying yet. The other reasons that affect quail egg laying, like if they've been laying and they stop laying for some reason, those are going to be stress factors is the #2 reason why they stop laying or don't lay. Really, the main things that stress your birds out is if you're moving them around a lot. So if I move them from one hutch to another hutch, they're going to shut down and stop laying, because that stresses them out. That new environment that they're new to, that'll stress them out, and they'll stop laying. They'll lay, even if the conditions are right, they got enough light, you're probably looking at about a week or 2 maybe before they start laying again. Now, they may lay an egg or 2 after you move them, but that's because it's already in their system, already being developed. Then they lay that egg, and then they shut down, and they're not going to produce any more for another, like I said, about a week or 2, something like that. I guess drastic changes in diet might kind of affect them, but I've gone from 30% feed to, protein, 30% protein feed down, which is what I feed them consistently on a normal basis, down to 20% protein feed. It's never really affected my birds, maybe just slightly. They may slow down for a little bit, but not completely stop. But I've never noticed a big impact on the feed compared to what, how much eggs they're laying. So now, again, I don't know anything about this whole Tractor Supply controversy with their feed and what's going on with that. I think that's more related to chickens anyway, but I'm not really familiar with that, so I can't speak to that really in detail. I don't know if there's anything behind that or not, but I've never seen feed have a big impact on the egg laying of the birds. Other things that could do that, though, that may cause them, like I said, light is the number one, stress is the number two, and other than that, pretty much if they're molting, which your birds have a tendency to do for some reason in the winter, or right as winter comes on, it seems like, right as winter comes on, right as summer comes on, they tend to molt. And when they're molting, they'll usually shut down and quit laying eggs for, like I said, about a week or two until they kind of regrow their feathers. Now, that could be a prolonged period of time. It takes a lot of protein to regrow feathers. So if they're in the process of molting and regrowing feathers, you really need a pretty high protein feed. I would say something over 25%. Help them get through that as fast as they can, or supplement it with some kind of supplements. You can use catfish food, cat food, a lot of those things. Crumble it up, mix it in with their feed to kind of bump the protein up temporarily, help them regrow those feathers. But that's a pretty common issue too when they start molting. But that's a stress factor. So other things, I've had predators come around and pester my birds. That's never really caused them to shut down. But if you had really extreme predator pressure, that might be a stress factor that would cause them to not lay or to not start laying. But that doesn't seem to affect them too much, in my opinion. Like I said, if it was really extreme, if it was all the time really pestering them, maybe, but I've never noticed a big impact on them from just the predators I have around here. Now, I live in town, so it's not huge predator pressure, but we do get things like raccoons. We have a fox that comes around. I had a fox at one time that was coming up and going under the hutch here and grabbing their legs and pulling their legs off through the bottom of the hutch. The birds kept laying. The ones that didn't get their legs pulled off kept laying. But that could be, if that was a persistent, constant thing, that might be a stress factor for them for sure. But that's pretty much it. If your birds haven't started laying and you're keeping them outside this time of year, in North America anyway, we're still in winter. It's the lack of light that's causing it. That's the most common reason. And I see people ask it all the time in the Facebook groups, on my live broadcasts, everywhere. But it's just all about light. Now, I have this particular light that I'm using in my Amazon shop. It's in my description below in the video. You can go check that out. I do make a little bit of a commission if you buy through that link, but so you can go look it up on your own if you want to, if that bothers you. It doesn't cost you any more either way, but check that description. Also, don't forget, there is a code where you can get 10% off high C boots, waterproof boots, in my link in my description of my videos as well. So if you're looking for a pair of waterproof boots, you can follow that link and get a 10% discount using the code REDNECK at checkout. And anyway, all that out of the way. Hopefully, if you're somebody that's struggling with that, you're wondering why your birds aren't laying eggs yet, that answers the question for you. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully we got everything answered for you, and as always, God bless.